Right, hello everyone. It's myself and myself and a very frustrated Annie with technical issues again to talk through the weekend of the Sky Bet Championship again. So I'll ask Annie how he's doing if we take out the fact that he's frustrated with his mic.
I'm gonna not comment on my mic. Let's just leave it there. Terrible day, the terrible way even to begin this show.
Yeah, I was going. Well, I thought you were going to say a terrible way to end the weekend that was otherwise great for you in the form of the Liam Manning derby at Carrow Road. But I'm sure we'll get onto that at the very
Don't know
end.
what you mean, Michael. Nothing happened.
Really?
Did
Did it not? Oh,
I don't think we played this weekend actually.
No, did you not? So why have I got Norwich Bristol City on the highlights on my screen right now to prepare for all of this? Yeah. Yeah, there you go, guys. So anyone who is watching, Carl's going to be trying to have a balance a lot of things in his life. I think he might be starting a job in the next couple of weeks. So basically, you're going to be stuck with me hosting it for the foreseeable future. But Carl will be joining us at aspects of the next few weeks. But yeah, let's get right into it. Let's talk more about the Sky Bet Championship. And it's been pretty action-packed weekend, so to speak. I'll tell you what, let's start with Friday night's game. So I did manage to watch most of this. Middlesbrough 2, Ipswich 1. It seems like Ipswich's stop-start to the season is continuing to be on halt again because they ended up losing at what at the time would have now, after the game, would have been the leaders, Middlesbrough. Of course, Coventry ruined that for them by winning yesterday. But gotta say, Annie, I was, yeah. Oh, yeah, I forgot you're in the Midlands now, aren't you, in uni? But having said that, from watching this game, Middlesbrough were the better side, in my opinion, and were fully deserving of the 3 points.
I didn't watch the game. I watched the highlights, but it felt like, Borough had the chances. Borough scored right before half time. That is such a psychological boost to them, and that obviously affects the rest of the game. Sorry if you can hear any squeaking. That is my chair, I promise.
If you can hear stuff on mine, it'll be the dogs deciding not to be sleeping and decide to run around with a squeaky toy. So, we roll with it.
Stop squeaking. Can't help this. What was I going to say? Completely lost my train of thought. Yeah, Borough score right before half time. That obviously makes a massive difference to the rest of the game. And then score sort of 10 minutes into the first half, the second half even. Whittaker gets his first goal for Borough.
I couldn't believe when I heard that. He signed for them in January, and he's only just scored his first goal for them.
7 million or something. A lot of money.
Something along those lines.
A lot of money to Argyle. And then after that, you're kind of going, right, Rob Edwards, it's a sort of prime Rob Edwards situation, 2-0 up, a sort of half an hour or so to go, just sort of see it out, make it a little bit difficult for themselves, but they had the chances to score more. Tommy Conway is 1-on-1 in the first half at 0-0, isn't he? Delano Bergsorg has a shot saved, and then rebound goes to Stralic, who just has to score. Borough have some massive opportunities throughout the whole game, actually, and should have been more comfortable than well before Dara O'Shea not one in from Marcelino Nunez's corner. So yeah, it's a very, very good win for Borough, and it's not just they've had 2 entries into the box, scored 2 goals, conceded 20-25 shots, and sort of have grinded their way to a 2-1 win at home. No, they've created more than enough opportunities to go and show that they're very much in contention for to be right near the top of this division, and they've just beaten a side in Ipswich who we thought started slowly, but felt like slightly sort of starting to sort of move in the right direction. It felt like Philishine, Smodix, Hurst, or Azon, or whoever it was, and McAteer or Eggerly, they had the set on midfield. It felt like they were starting to tick to beat them in their moment after obviously that win on Derby Day for Ipswich. Feels like a big boost for Middlesbrough, and the big sort of response to when they lost to Pompey beforehand. So yeah, what a win for Borough, and I think I'm fully sort of convinced by them now, which I wasn't, to be honest, beforehand. So what a win for Borough.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And like I said, I did manage to watch most of this game, and yeah, Borough were the scoreline flattered Ipswich, if anything, in the end. And let's not forget, they also Sol Bryn in the Borough goal, who I believe the commentator said was from their academy. Of course, don't worry, I end up forgetting stuff like that all the time. Obviously saved the penalty from George Hurst in the first half, which Yeah, I mean, what a moment for him. To sort of, obviously force himself into number one shot stopper for Borough. And then obviously, I think there was some contention around the penalty, to be fair. But obviously, Bryn ends up saving it, and then that ends up giving Borough the catalyst to go and win. Obviously, Cedric Keeper was probably a bit unfortunate with the own goal, but I would say that Borough did deserve that over the course of the entirety of the first half. I think Ipswich were quite fortunate, really. I mean, Ipswich did have one shot cleared off the line.
Yeah, it
Not
was,
long before
it
the
was
penalty.
Smollich, wasn't it?
Yeah, I believe it was. But other than that, I think it was domination by Middlesbrough. And I think when I've seen Middlesbrough, I think they've been very street smart, compact, resolute, and organised, which is a good thing. But this is the first time I've seen them properly dominate a game, and I think, and I feel very smug now because I remember, and as Annie knows in our group chat, I was saying in the summer, I think Rob Edwards has got a bit of a raw reputation, has got a raw deal here. I think he's actually a better manager than what a lot of people think he is, and obviously, look, will the Bills will stay the course in the top two race? Time will tell, but when you look at how the year one parachute teams have started in particular, there's no reason why, if they maintain a reasonable level of consistency, that they could do it. And as for Ipswich, yeah, I mean, I can imagine their fans will be so frustrated, really, because there has been signs that their performances things weren't fully clicking, but there was enough there to get behind. And there still is. I think McKenna's still got more than enough credit in the bank with Ipswich fans. But yeah, it's just frustrating when you manage to find that fantastic Derby Day victory before the international break. And then after that, you just end up losing away. And to be fair, losing away at Middlesbrough was not a disgraceful result by any means, especially this season. But yeah, it would have been frustrating for them. Obviously, Dara O'Shea from Marcelino Nunes corner, I believe, ends up heading to get Ipswich back into the tie. But of course, they didn't really threaten an equaliser from what I can remember. I think Borough were, if anything, were looking more likely to score again. But no, I agree with you. Absolutely, and Ipswich go again. Amazing win for Middlesbrough, though. Absolutely amazing. So yeah, I mean, so let's move on. So Borough were the leaders going into the Saturday lunchtime games, and then
sorry, just I'll butt in.
Yeah, go on.
Well, if we're looking at Borough as a top two contender and Ipswich as a top two contender, we'll be looking back sort of in April, as at the sort of head-to-heads. The fact that Borough have now beaten Ipswich at home, that is a sort of massive thing as well. They've effectively taken 3 points off them. If they can go to Portman Road and sit in and get a draw or something like that, you're looking at 4 points against a direct rival and being very happy. Being very happy with that. So in terms of head-to-head, a potential head-to-head right at the end of the season, is also massive. Yeah.
These are sort of games you look back on if you're competing at the end of the season for that. Yeah, I completely agree with you on that. But yeah, so Borough obviously again going into Saturday. I think it was Saturday lunchtime Coventry play. I could be wrong. Ant's favourite team ever, by the way, of course. I had to get that little dig in there. But and of course, Annie's now a local team. So if anyone wants to go and meet or go and give Annie Harris some Bristol Rovers abuse or something, just to try and piss him off, even though Bristol City are well ahead of them in the pyramid.
Don't think you can do that.
Then you just go around to go to Coventry at any point, But yeah, no. Because speaking of Coventry, though, of course, they beat Blackburn Rovers 2-0 at the Rico. Is it? Am I saying Rico?
CBS.
My brain is not working. Blame my autism for that. No, the CBS Arena, obviously, of course, 0-0 at half time. From all accounts of what I've heard from one of my mates who's a Coventry fan who was watching it, it wasn't a particularly great performance. But then, of course, 2 goals in 3 second half minutes, one by Torp and then the other one by Brandon Thomas Asante, ends up sealing what should be a routine win for them over Blackburn Rovers, but which sends Frank Lampard's side back to top of the table. And the biggest thing for me, and I mean, I'm looking at the XG stats again. I always get a Michael Bowers bingo card about me talking about XG every week. But basically, you've got 0.87 expected goals for Coventry and 1.02 for Blackburn. But at the end of the day, the stat that matters, and the stat that I'm sure Frank Lampard and Coventry fans will only be ones they'll care about, is Coventry City 2, Blackburn Rovers 0. So yeah, Coventry top again. So it feels like Middlesbrough and Coventry are going to try and fight for top spot at the moment. But yeah, I mean, Coventry are the only unbeaten side left in the division. So, like we said last time, before the international break, I think I asked the question, is there a better non-parachute team than Coventry? And, going forward, I mean, like I've said before, they've only scored 29 goals. I mean, what's the matter with them? They need to have scored 35. They need to score 40-odd goals in 10 games. Shocking Coventry. What's the matter?
Disgraceful, isn't
it? Of course, it's absolutely pathetic. And I think they've then got the joint third best defence. Hang on, who's got the best defence?
Yeah,
Stoke's got the best defence.
Another clean sheet, isn't it? It's crazy.
Yeah. But to be honest, the Coventry are literally like a train, just speeding and motoring. They're going to get a ticket soon enough if they don't watch what they're doing. But I'm sure they'll get a ticket to the Premier League if they keep this up. But When we're asking about Borough being a top 2 contender, what do we think about Coventry in that regard then?
Definitely. Oh, definitely. They are. I'd say they're different to Borough. Obviously, play style is different, but they're stable. Lampard's been there for 9 months beforehand, before this season. He's been there a while now. That squad is elite level at this level, at this division, at this season. I think it's right near the top. They're scoring goals, and it's not just Hadji Wright or Efron Mason Clark. It's everyone. It's Hadji Wright. It's Victor Torp. It's Brandon Thomas Asante. All of this they're doing without Jack Rodoni, who is arguably their best player. Throw him into the mix, and you're looking at
scary.
You're looking at a very, very scary team. I think they're definitely up to contention. In fact, I might make them favourites for my title. Honestly, at this point, they are streets ahead of everyone at the moment. And yes, we're still early on in the season. We might get a situation where Ipswich start. If Ipswich win 4 games in a row, they're neck and neck with Coventry, right? But they're so far ahead of literally everyone. Even Middlesbrough, I think, just in terms of performance levels, just in terms of comfort in some of the games, and games that Coventry haven't won. I want to say Leicester, they drew against, didn't they? Good point at the King Power.
They drew against Hull on the opening day as well.
Opening day, Hull, whatever, you can brush that.
2-2 at Oxford, I think, as well. I might
2
be making that up.
2 Oxford, had chances to win.
But that's an anomaly, though, isn't it? Like, majority of the time, they've beaten the teams they need to be beaten. So, I get your point.
And Hadji Wright hit the bar late on in that game, didn't he? So, look, it's not like Coventry getting by in games. They're absolutely walking all over championship teams, and good championship teams at that. So, no, I might, if this train keeps going at 1,000 miles per hour, you might get to a situation where very soon, if the parachute teams don't, let's say by the end of this week coming up, because we've got 2 more games, haven't we, coming up this week. If Coventry win both those games and put on a 9-point week, and Ipswich and Southampton and Sheffield United and Leicester still just getting things together a little bit, and still sort of trying to find a solution, Coventry could be absolutely miles ahead of them, and so far ahead of them that you need to be nearly perfect to try and catch them, because at this point, if Coventry slip off a little bit, we still expect them to be a top 6 team, right? We still expect them to perform in a top 6 sort of form. If they put on a top 6 sort of points record from now until the end of the season, they'll probably be in the automatic places, or at least in the top 3. Like, definitely.
You'd think so, wouldn't you?
Yeah. So if they now, considering how poorly the Year 1 parachute teams and Sheffield United have started, you would expect that if they perform to what we believe is their average, which is a top 6 team, let's say 5th place, they'll get into automatic places, because that's just, they're capitalised. They've seen the doors open and they've ran straight through it, and now they can perform as to what their squad quality should be for this division, which is a very, very good one at that. But they need to do that to get automatics. That is an unbelievable situation to be in for Coventry. And wow, what a start. What a start. And what job by Frank Lampard as well.
So Coventry fans, if you tail off from here, then you know to blame Annie Harris for this, because he's jinxed you. But
don't come and lynch me, please.
No, yeah. You should say, come and lynch him. Buy him a new mic, then go and lynch him.
Yeah, please. No worries.
Just do that. But yeah, for Blackburn, look, like I said, for Blackburn, I think they obviously did well to stay. They obviously did well to keep Coventry at bay from what it seemed reasonably comfortably until obviously that mad 3 minutes, which ended up costing them in the end. But I do kind of feel for them in a sense, because again,
they missed a big chance at 0-0, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
Super save, yeah.
Yeah, so I think obviously when you're up against teams that are going to be sort of nearer the top end of the league, then you've got to be taking them, haven't you? But for me, I think that it's a weird one, because I do feel for them in the sense that the game they had against Ipswich, imagine if that had finished with just 10 more minutes to go and they'd beaten a Year 1 parachute team, and I know Ipswich were down to 10 men, but like the confidence that could have given them would have just been mental. And obviously now they've dropped into the bottom 3, haven't they? Obviously, the caveat is, look, loads of time yet, and I'll be quite surprised if Blackburn ended up getting relegated, to be honest. But yeah, it's just,
Would you?
well, compared to some of the, well, actually, yes, compared to, depends who you class as the sort of favourites. I think we both kind of assume we expect Sheffield Wednesday to be there to go down, but then you look at the other two. So yeah, maybe. I mean, I don't know. I mean, if you're looking at, well, Andy's going to hate this, obviously, but like Liam Manning's not set the world at light in Norwich at the moment. Derby are kind of I saw the smirk there. Derby, not
No,
done what I expected of them at the moment.
can't
Sorry.
see Derby Can't see Derby
No, I
getting
don't. I don't
relegated.
think they will be. But it's a weird one. I mean, Sheffield United, of course, we'll get onto them in a minute. But like, yeah, Sheffield United obviously got a big win for themselves yesterday, and I think that really, like I said, it's embarrassing they're in this conversation to begin with, really. So it's yeah, okay, maybe I might retract that. I mean, I suppose in a way I would and shouldn't be. If Luton got relegated from where we expected at the start of last season, then God knows, anything can happen in this division.
I will say on Rovers, they look slightly undercooked, don't they? In terms of the squad, I don't think Big Val's been given a lot to work with.
Do you mean in terms of quality or depth or both?
Yeah, it's quality. I think there's Todd Cantwell, who's a very good operator at this level, and is their best player and is their captain. But apart from that, you're looking at something, you're trying to hold on to something, you're trying to go, where is that next person to give me, who's going to chip in with, I don't know, 15 goals and assists, goal contributions? Where is that person? Where is that solid unit in the middle? They've got Tronstad, who's pretty decent. They lost Lewis Travis in the summer, didn't they? They've just not got that backbone. They've lost Vyman and Bath in the summer. They lost Dom Heim on deadline day.
Yeah, true. They did lose quite a bit in the summer, to be fair, didn't they?
They've lost some sort of backbone, which was so important to them last season. Bath, as again, I'll repeat these players: Bath, Heim, Vyman. Key sort of. Maybe some of them didn't play every single minute of every single game, but there was just
but their influence could have been felt behind the scenes, though, couldn't
it? Exactly. And when you lose Heim on deadline day, and that's what really struck to me. You lose Heim on deadline day, and they're kind of like, oh, the money was good, all of that, fine, yeah, no problems. And then they mentioned the fact that I think it was like a really young centre back. I can't remember his name. They name dropped him. They name dropped him in that interview. Might have been Adbiusu, I think his name is. He's a very young centre back. Nowhere near experienced as Tom Heim. Not played nowhere near in the Championship either. They're kind of replacing this experience or know-how, very good Championship centre back in Tom Heim, with the inexperience of this new fella. I'm concerned for Blackburn, I have to say. It feels like they're in games and then it just kind of gets away from them. Charlton, they were 1-0 down. They were huffing and puffing and then concede 2 goals pretty late on. They lose that game 3-0. And then this one, okay, you're in it. You're in it at half time. Can you sort of contain Coventry a little bit more and then try and maybe nick a goal? No, they didn't really look like that was going to happen. So it's not great for Blackburn at the minute, and I'd be concerned if I was a Rovers fan.
I remember, of course, the big person they lost last year was John Eustace, wasn't it? So they've gone to Derby, but yeah, we'll get onto them in a bit. But yeah, for Coventry, we'll to quickly end it on to Coventry. Yeah, look, I mean, I think you are right in what you said about that. If they manage to get top 6 form in the next 36 games, then they at least comfortably make playoffs. And actually, really, would say if you got to 2 points per game for the rest of the season, what was that? 72 points? You're laughing, really. I've said before that I think if you want to get top 2, and I know that I said this last season when Leeds and Burnley got 100 points, but like I think this year with the way the parachute teams have started, I think 90 points genuinely would give you a really good shout. So I think the way the Coventry should look at it is if you want to get to 90 points, then you need 68 points from 36 games, I think it is. So it gives and the more better start you have now, the more wiggle room for error you have later on.
1.89 points per game.
There you go. That's why we've got Annie on. Quick stat, man. That's brilliantly timed. So yeah, we shall see. But yeah, I mean, like I've said earlier, even if you look at with Donny missing, like I said, Carl Rushworth, Van Elwick, Bobby Thomas, Liam Kitchen, Jay De Silva, Victor Torp, Matt Grimes, Sakamoto, Thomas Asante, Mason Clark, Haji Wright, and then you've got like you've got like Kessler Hayden on the bench, Sims on the bench. There's just so much Bidwell on the bench. There's so much
There's championship know-how plus championship
exactly,
quality in there, is there?
and that's
Like,
never a bad mix to have, is it?
like
So
Matt Grimes is the perfect example of what I've just said. Like, top player in his division. He's played 1 million games in the championship as well. In the middle of the park, captain. That is the perfect player you want in there as your captain. I think Coventry's just really well balanced and really good at the minute. Yeah.
I think Coventry's the video clip that I've got of Annie, I think is how Coventry fans will feel at the minute, where it goes
Perfect.
perfect, just perfect. What more can you ask for? So I think that's got why we describing life as a Coventry City fan as of right now.
Golf.
Yeah, up the cup. Hey, look, when Coventry play Leicester at the CBS, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
And he's going to be sitting in the home end and just sort of like giving abuses and go, yeah, fuck you, absolute bad. Wait, that's Ant. Oh yeah, hello. I hate you for the day. We'll go. Oh, that's going to be a fun game. It's always funny when they play each other. Right, let's go on. Let's see. Who should we go to next? Let's go to the Bet365 actually, because it's kind of a link with Coventry, obviously, because Mark Robbins is now there. Stoke beat Wrexham 1-0. A goal from Sorba Thomas, who I am staggered, brilliant, again, like I've said before, a really underrated shout for signing of the season, really, because he is took to Stoke like a house.
I'm going to be honest, Michael. I don't think we should give Sorba Thomas too much credit for this goal because it's an absolute shambles.
Well, yes, it is. But you've still got to check your name on the tally, haven't you? The point is, give us excuse to clutch here. Like the point is, Sorba Thomas has still been an absolutely fantastic signing for Stoke. Much more so, given that he didn't pull up any trees in League One for Huddersfield last year. So I was a bit like,
was he in League One last season?
I could be wrong, but I think he was.
I thought he was at.
Or did he go somewhere on loan?
I think he went somewhere on loan in France.
Let's have a quick look.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, let's have a look. Sorba Thomas.
Yeah, he went to Nantes, FC Nantes in France.
Nah, French league doesn't count. Right, so anyway, we're moving on from that. Oh, yeah, so you are right. Well, all right then. 25 games, 1 goal in there then. So we want to look at it that way, depending on how he was utilised. Well, anyway, he's got... Well, okay then. What have I said this year? He's got 8 goal contributions in the first 10 games for Stoke.
Seriously good player, isn't he?
Yeah, so that's... Serious. And they wouldn't have spent that much on him either, I don't think. I think Huddersfield would have been at the point where they probably wanted to get rid of him. So either way, Stoke beat Wrexham 1-0. Which keeps Stoke third in the Championship at the moment on 18 points. And I've said, I think that, for all the credit Coventry and Middlesbrough are rightly getting, got to start giving Mark Robbins a lot of credit for considering, and this is probably in some ways more impressive because with Middlesbrough and Coventry, there was always something there for them to kick. If they got the management right, they could really kick on to the level they are on now. Whether they finish there, I don't know. But with Stoke, it's been years of 14th, 15th, 16th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 14th, 15th. Like, it's not been doing anything. So for Mark Robbins, I remember obviously his reputation would have took a bit of a hit after getting sacked from Coventry. So I think we've got to start giving Mark Robbins a genuine amount of credit for turning around what looks like he's turning around a culture at Stoke. Recent culture, anyway.
Bang on, bang on. He's a very good manager. He's a transformed Cov, and he's I don't know if transforming Stoke is the right word, but he's getting Stoke up to where they should be in the Championship, which is right near the top of the division, at least challenging for the playoffs, or even in the playoffs even. So yeah, look, we've always said with Stoke, they've got quality in their team. They always do. Manhurst, Thomas, Baker, Mabama, they've got quality.
Johansson in goal as well.
Yeah, but one of the best goalkeepers in the division. They've got quality right throughout that team, and. They lost Berger in the summer. I was like, is that going to be a loss? But no, they look like they've adapted pretty well without him. And Robbins is a very good manager. He's a very shrewd operator at this level. We know that he's a very good manager. I think for Wrexham, they 0-0. Ryan Longman misses literally a tap-in, an open goal, tap-in. And
yeah, I did see that.
Ball goes from right hand side all the way through. Johansson's on the floor. Oh my god, he just has to score. Hits the side netting. Game could have been so much different at that point. And Stoke games have been tight this season. A lot of 1s and 0s and 1-1s and 0-0s and 1-0s in there either way. So that would have been a a big moment. It's a bit of a sliding doors moment in that game. So yeah. I think Wrexham will be slightly disappointing because they kept Stoke relatively sort of quiet for most of that game, didn't they? And you kind of looking at that Ryan Longman miss a 0-0 and as a bit of a what if, and that would have been it really. But yeah, disappointing for Wrexham, but they're looking competitive. I think despite the fact they've lost it, I don't think that's any disgrace. They're getting better gradually, which is good to see for Phil Parkinson, who was under a lot of pressure, sort of after they lost at home to QPR and stuff. He was under a lot of pressure then, wasn't he? So good for him to sort of get things moving a little bit, but this is a bit of a setback.
Yeah, I think again, it does come for Wrexham. It comes down to what is their aspirations this season. And I know that, and I said at the start of the season, I think Wrexham fans will be in for a little bit of a not a shock, but will be slightly taken aback by how much of a step up the Championship is for what they've been playing the last few years. And obviously, they're in a good habit where it's winning nearly every week. Obviously, to get 3 promotions on the bounce, of course, you have to win a lot of games in order to do it. And every single one of them has been automatic as well. They've not had to go through the playoffs. So fair play to them for that. I still think for me, and I've said this before, that I think consolidation this year for Wrexham is a solid enough season. It's nothing outstanding, but it's solid. And it gives you the platform to build on. Remember, but again, when you look at the squad that, again, even they've assembled, and that will take time to gel. But once it does, I think it should be really, really good. So I'm looking at players like, Callum Doyle playing there, Lewis O'Brien, Kiefer Moore, Nathan Broadhead, just off the top of my head. So there is something there to work with. I do get the impression that Phil Parkinson will probably have to be moved on at some point if they want to reach the Premier League, which is fair enough. They've got every right for that aim. So it's a question of whether Deadpool will send Wolverine to assassinate Phil Parkinson. Not quite going that dark, actually. So, but the point is, at some point they probably will have to have the harsh conversation about it. But for now, they're competing enough, and I think that they can't ask for much more than that. And obviously, Stoke away. Look, with how Stoke started this season, again, it's not a disgrace, really. Obviously, Longman has the tap-in that he should be scoring. And again, that's the lesson that sometimes if you don't take your chances, you often get punished for it. So, but there you go. But for Stoke, like we said, Mark Robbins, shrewd operator. Stoke, I think, are quietly going under the radar compared to Coventry and Middlesbrough, but that'll suit them perfectly. So we shall see how that all pans out with that one. I'll tell you what then. If Ant was here, this would have been perfect to talk about. But we'll talk about Leicester now anyway. So we'll go. Yeah, I'm just going down the league, but who cares? Let's go for Leicester City 1, Portsmouth 1. Now I caught a lot of the second half of this game, or I caught bits and pieces of the game. Now, from what I did see, so this could be skewed in the fact that I didn't see the full game. But from what I did see, I don't know what you think. I thought Pompey were well worthy of the point. I thought I think that obviously Aaron Ramsey, who I didn't even realise played for Leicester. That's how out of touch I've been with what's going on with the King Power, because Ant just basically tells us everything's crap there, pretty much. But obviously, Aaron Ramsey, it's a tap in, of course, but you've still got to go out and score. He puts Leicester ahead in the first half.
It's a bloody scorpion kick. That is
well, it is. But true. It's a scorpion kick, but it's also one where there's like nobody challenging around him. But you've still got to get.
I think you've got to give him a bit more credit than that. That is a brilliant finish. That is a great finish.
Yeah, well, fair enough then. But either way, and obviously Fatawu gets the assist for it as well. So obviously it was crucial for Leicester to have ended up keeping him. So obviously, okay, so Aaron Ramsey does the scorpion kick tap in. That's what I'll just phrase it now. Obviously puts Leicester ahead. And then if I was a Leicester fan, I'd be fuming to have conceded from this. It's a brilliant counter-attack from Portsmouth where they have a couple of nice little touch and passes and they get up the pitch really, really surprisingly quite quickly, actually. And then John Swift ends up equalising. The shot going in pretty much around the back post sort of area. But yeah, I think, and actually Portsmouth, I think, missed a good chance not long afterwards to go and get themselves in front. But then Leicester, of course, at the very last minute, I can't remember who it was that had the effort. I think it might have been Luke Thomas. I think ends up having the shot that goes wide past everybody. But he's obviously kind of a tight angle, but there's enough there to be disappointed not to have scored, I think. So either way, I said it before, I think Cifuentes is getting Leicester steadily going along nicely. Obviously, this result's disappointing for them, but let's not take away from Portsmouth. I think that's a fantastic point for them.
I didn't watch the game, so I'll plead to your bow down to your superior knowledge on the game. But yeah, on the face of it, it's a good point for Pompey away from home. They've been better away from home than at home this season. I feel like I've said that before on the channel.
Yeah, which is weird because there's usually Fratton Park's usually been their fortress, hasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. They've lost a couple of home games, haven't they, this season? I want to say, they lost to Sheffield Wednesday and they lost to Norwich as well. So they'll want to get better at Fratton. It's a good point. Like Leicester should be in the top 6, if not in the top 4, at the very least.
If they don't get a points deduction anyway.
Yeah, exactly. If they don't get points deduction. Point away at Leicester is a very, very good result for Pompey, who look, they're a good side. They've got a good manager. They've got some good attacking players: Chaplin, Murphy, Bishop, Yang, Swift. Some good attacking players, Pompey. So they will not be an easy game for anyone in this division, Portsmouth, this season. So it's a good point for them. Leicester, I think it's 5 draws and 6 or something like that.
Let me double check that, but I think you're
right.
4 wins, 5 draws, 1 loss.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's not the most ideal sort of run, and they'll look at this sort of upcoming. I don't know who they've got coming up in this midweek and then next week.
With me, I'll be able to. Well, okay, they've got Hull away on Tuesday night. Actually, they've got 2 away games. Hull away Tuesday night, and then next Saturday they go to the Den.
That's not easy, to be fair. They'll want to stick a win on the board in one of those games. I think they'll want to get a three-pointer, and then try and just sort of get a winning sort of mentality, winning momentum going. Because again, there's still that uncertainty hanging around them over a points deduction. So racking up points on the board quickly and sort of trying to catch one of those top 2 teams, or get as close to the top 2 as possible before a potential points deduction comes in, I think will be the aim for Cifuentes. And whilst the other parachute teams are sort of labouring and sort of struggling and sort of trying to get their engine going, Leicester will be hoping for this little period where they're still sort of hurting, not fully ready to get their act going.
Here's one then. So, say if would Leicester fans take a point deduction, but they still finish in the playoffs at this point? So they finish in the playoffs with a points. Where do they take the top 6 with a points deduction? So I mean, say they get deducted 9 points, but they still finish in the playoffs.
Yeah, that'd be a very good return, because if you get a 9 points deduction, top 2 looks
I'm just
very
speculating, by the way. I don't know if they're going to get 9 points. I'm just using that as an example.
If they get 9, top 2 looks very, very unlikely, right?
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Because especially at this point, because they're not, sort of a little bit clear at the top of the table or something, or not in the top 2 positions. If they get a 9 point now, they'll be very, very unlikely to get back into the top 2 conversation. So top 6 would be sort of very, very, very good for them. I think at that point, top 6 would be yeah. That'd be the aim and the expectation, even with a 9 pointer.
Well, like I said, I think that is, for me, the minimum for Leicester you'd like to think would be playoffs. So I think if they've got a points deduction but finish in the top 6, I think that's a relatively successful season. Just with the fact of what's going on off the pitch, constant legal, financial PSR battles and whatever else is going on. It's like a circus there pretty much at the moment. But look, for Leicester, it's an underwhelming draw at home. You'd be wanting to beat teams. Again, it's going to sound disrespectful, but teams like Portsmouth. But I think that Portsmouth, obviously, that's not their problem. For them, that's a fantastic point, and I think they were well worthy of it and deserved it. Let's move on to the Hawthorns. So we had West Brom 2, West Brom 2, Preston North End 1. Mickey Johnston. That's it. I know he's not had the best of times. I don't think he had the best of times last season at West Brom, I don't believe. But tell you what, though.
Don't let him coincide.
What a goal that was.
Don't let him coincide. That's his trademark move. He can do it from 20 yards, 15 yards, 30 yards. He can do it from anywhere within shooting range. The guy's a quality player, and he'll score goals. He'll cut inside and score goals, and that feels like a big win for Ryan Mason. I think they lost 3-0 at the Den. It was a little bit sort of not ideal, not great. They got a point. They got a win at Norwich, but Norwich at the moment are, well, we'll talk about them in a little bit. So that, I think that's
at Carroll Road. Yeah,
they're hapless, aren't they?
Just a bit, yeah.
They'll want to beat a Preston side who've been very good this season so far. I think for Preston, honestly, despite the fact they've lost, the fact they were competitive in this game, I think that shows that they didn't just have a hot start and they're sort of now going to peter out into mid-table or into the abyss of nothing. They look like a pretty decent side, and they look like they're going to compete against most teams this division. Again, particularly at Deepdale, they're going to be really, really strong. So I don't know who they've got. Presuming they've got a home game in midweek against someone.
They have 2 home games both this week. Funnily enough, they have They have Birmingham at Preston. Have Preston? That makes no sense, Michael. Preston have got Birmingham at home on Tuesday night, and then they've got Sheffield United on Friday night for one of the Friday night football games.
That Birmingham game looks like an opportunity. You could catch Birmingham out with the way they're going at the minute. So that's another opportunity for a 3-pointer for Heckingbottom. I wouldn't be too concerned if I was a Preston fan. Hawthorne's a hard place to go. You get done by a Marky Johnston sort of special. It's a hard mountain to climb after that. So yeah, not great from North End, but they'll be much better at home at Deepdale than they will be on the road this season. But for Ryan Mason, I think that's the main story here. Big win.
Yeah, I think it's great for West Brom because obviously Preston have earned themselves as a bit of respect of being having started really, really well. My only concern with Preston, I think I'd like to see them win a little bit more away from home. I know they won away at Derby, I believe it is. Obviously, I haven't just looked at them, but haven't won away from home other than that. But again, it'll be in 5 games, so there's still time. Obviously, there's going to be time in the season to it. But at Deepdale, look, they are going to be a fortress. They very nearly beat Middlesbrough and should have beaten them with it being the last minute equaliser for Borough. Beaten 2 of the Year 1 parachute teams in Ipswich and Leicester. Not easy to do. So I think Preston, like I've said loads of times, are making me look like mugs more and more every day of the week when I said, oh, Preston will get relegated. Paul Heckingbottom said, screw you and hold my beer. So, yeah, well done to him, though. I don't mind Hecky. He's a good lad. So, yeah, but no disrespect, no harm in losing that way at West Brom, even though you wouldn't have wanted to. But like I said, big win for West Brom. Preston have obviously got 2 home games. They'll view it as an opportunity to get points. And actually, I think even them, despite their start, I think if you get 4 points from these 2 games, particularly with Sheffield United, I think if you drew against Sheffield United, it's not a bad result, I don't think, for Preston. But yeah, so no disgrace within that whatsoever. And yeah, obviously Michael Smith got a goal from a Daniel Jefferson assist. Isaac Price. And I'm sure when I was watching the highlights, I was thinking, I thought Isaac Price got the first one. I'm sure he scored. Oh, he got the second. Never mind. I knew I'd seen on the match report that he had scored. Anyway,
Isaac Price, by the way, absolutely ridiculous.
Good prospect, isn't he?
He's a ridiculously good player. He will not be playing in the Championship next season, I don't think.
Playing for West Bromwich Albion in the Premier League, who knows?
Yeah, probably.
Or Bristol City go up to the Premier League. Bristol City signed Isaac Price. Yeah,
let's not get that yet.
Not yet. I think Annie would combust with delight if Bristol City got promoted to the Premier League. Bless him. But there you go. Right, let's move on to. Well, I remember the Second Tier podcast describing them as everybody's dark horses for the playoffs. So they can't be a dark horse because everyone keeps fancying them. Alex Neil's Millwall. They go to QPR, QPR have been very good recently, by the way. So I think this is a very good win for them, for Millwall. Going away to Loftus Road / whatever, Prince Stadium, whatever it's called these days. I mean, it's Loftus Road. 0-0, and I think it was 0-0 until the 36th minute when Aziz obviously put them 1-0 up. Then Ivanovic, when we talked earlier about Middlesbrough scoring before half-time, well, Millwall did pretty much had a real big dagger into QPR hearts by Ivanovic scoring right, I think it was his seconds before the half-time whistle went. Obviously, QPR got a goal back with Burrell very, very late on, but obviously weren't able to find an equaliser. So I've said before that I think, taking out my feelings on him leaving Sunderland to go to Stoke, I think if Alex Neil is a very shrewd operator at this level, and I think he's going to... And by the way, QPR obviously are nowhere near out of the conversation either, because there's 3 points that separate third right all the way down to 14th. Sorry, no, not 14th. It's to 11th, my mistake. So from QPR to Stoke, 3 points. But either way, you've got to credit Millwall for this. Really good win.
Yeah, Aziz looks very good. Aziz looks very good as a winger. He looks like he sort of settled in at Millwall. He signed from Reading, wasn't he, a couple of years ago, or last couple of summers ago. He looks pretty good. Ivanovic scores. I think that might be Ivanovic's first of the season. I think. If not, it's either first or second of the season. So it's good for him to get off the mark finally. It's a bit of a gift because QPR don't deal with it, and he's just kind of stood on the back post, kind of waiting for something to drop, and it drops for him. And yeah, timing is everything in football. When you get 2 goals right before half time, it's massive. It's a massive psychological dagger into QPR. Massive psychological boost for Millwall, and they've been good away from home this season. I don't think they've lost away from home, have they, this season? Which is
Give me a minute. I'll be able to check.
Quite.
No, sorry. Go on. Keep going. I'm just
which is quite impressive for Millwall, actually, considering historically or recently in the Championship they've been much better at the Den. But what a win, especially a QPR side who were sort of motored along quite a bit since that 7-1 defeat at Cov. So great win for Millwall. And look, Alex Neil said after the game they probably didn't deserve to be 2-1 ahead. 2-0 ahead, going into the break. I thought he was very honest and very good in that interview. But look, there's the Championship. You can take chances. You're probably going to win games. So yeah, very impressive for Millwall, and they've got snuck up into the top 6, haven't they? A little bit. I always thought,
fashion.
Yeah. I was kind of like, Millwall, good team. They've got good players, good manager, and all that. But I thought they were kind of struggling. That's kind of general perception I had. Sort of kind of meandering upper mid-table, maybe pushing the playoffs. Then after that win, I think they jumped up to 4th or something. They overtook QPR. So I was like, yeah, okay, these guys are really in the conversation now.
Well, I was going to say, I think with Millwall, they have, and I could be wrong on this, but I think they've only lost one of their last 6 league games. And that obviously was a 4-0 defeat to Coventry. But at the minute, I think everybody's conceding quite a few goals to Coventry. So I don't think that's going to be too much of a bad mark against them. And obviously, it's back-to-back wins for them, having beaten West Brom before the international break. And if you want to look at it another way, they've won 3 of their last 5, which is really encouraging stuff. And I've said before that I think if Millwall can sort out their home form a bit, then there's no reason why they cannot be right within that playoff picture. And especially, again, with the parachute teams not being as good. For QPR, I think it halts it a little bit, but again, it's still, at this point in the season, they're only 2 points off the playoffs, 3 points off third. I think there's not much to be read into this. Julian Steffen's still doing a good job so far down at Loftus Road. So let's get on to, let's see what the next game is. Let's have a look. Yeah, let's go on then. Let's talk about Southampton 0, Swansea 0. So I think this was the only goalless draw of the weekend. Yeah, it was the only goalless draw of the weekend in the Championship. So go on then. Southampton 0, Swansea 0. Discuss.
How the hell have Southampton not scored? 3.1 XG, I think it was, in the end they accumulated. Absolutely ridiculous how Saints haven't scored.
No, it wasn't 3. It wasn't 3.1. It was 3.26. Either way, that's yeah. And what Swansea's was?
0.56.
0.21.
Yeah, I think that tells you everything.
Fair play Swansea for getting a point then.
Look, definitely isn't viable for Swansea because they conceded a lot of chances, and Vigouroux was very, very good in that Swansea net, but they kept a clean sheet away as a year 1 parachute team. You take that any day, right?
Absolutely.
So eventually, good point for Swansea. Performance-wise, probably not the best, but if they can be defensively solid, fine. Yes, it's not. It's a good point, but not a great performance. Southampton, oh my god, need to. It's not even a case of they're not playing well. They've created absolutely a hatful of chances and they just can't score. And you think, what could it have been different if Ross Stewart was on the pitch and was fit?
Yeah, and he's out until January now, isn't he, Ross Stewart?
Yeah, and I think the new year. Yeah, sorry, that is the same thing, isn't it? January.
Well, pretty much, yeah. By New Year, but yeah, still a couple of months, isn't it?
Yeah. So can't believe I just said New Year is different to January. Okay.
I said Aaron Ramsey's goal, scorpion kick was a tap in, so there you go.
What was I going to say? Will Steele, he's got attacking players there, some good attacking players there. They're just not sort of putting the ball in the back of the net. It's quite simplistic, but that's what's happening. That's what I can see at the minute. Cameron Archer isn't quite firing. Adam Armstrong the same. I think Noah Zaz and Fellows again in this one. So something's up with that. And I think he switched to a back 5 as well. So look, it's clear.
Zaz and Fellows both came off the bench, by the way.
Yeah, both on the bench.
Oh yeah, they didn't start.
Yeah. It's not a case of they're not playing well again. they are. This is a good performance, but got to stick the ball in the back of the net, I'm afraid, or you will not win games of football. To sound very Michael Owen there.
Michael Owen, I don't discredit yourself by comparing yourself to Michael Owen, analysis-wise. To be fair, right, look, I think, okay, what's the positive of Southampton? They didn't concede, but that's probably because Swansea barely attacked them. So that would probably have something to do with it. I think if you keep putting performances in, unless you get very, very unlucky throughout the whole entire season, then, or if you keep being wasteful constantly throughout the season, eventually you would think that results will start to improve. And I think, and like I said before, just two of the names you mentioned there, when you're talking about Southampton not scoring chances, like Adam Armstrong and Cameron Archer should be two of the absolute best names and best players going forward of this division. But we do have to remember, again, I think we'll still, to be fair to him, as much as I've been sceptical of the hype around him, I do think, again, he is still trying to change I've said this as well before. He's trying to change the philosophy around what Russell Martin had them built because they were so ingrained in the way he was playing. Changing a system and an approach and a tactical side of things does take time to do. The good thing for Southampton, really, is that, why is it they're on 12 points? Look, 5 points off the playoffs. And if you want to look at it this way, 6 points off third. Like, that's not insurmountable. All it takes is a good run, is like a good, solid run together, and then you see what happens. And I've just seen who they've got next, so I don't know if anyone wants to comment on this, but obviously trip to Ashton Gate on Tuesday. Right, I'll just skip over that then. Trip to Blackburn next week. All right then. You get the impression for Southampton now, I think, that if you're wanting to really try and surge up the table and get into the playoffs, you need to probably get 4 points, I think, from these two away games. I think a point at Bristol City is a good result for. It's not a bad result for them. I said for good result as year one parachute team, but you know what I mean. Like, it's not a bad point. Ipswich didn't win there, so. And I think Blackburn, you probably need to maybe try and target there, going there and winning. Preston after that. Preston are obviously better at home than away. Then you got QPR and then Chef Wed before the next international break. So, Southampton need to start getting a good sort of run going together. But it's a long way in the season. If their performances keep being good and their underlying numbers are keep being good, then if they can practice if they can just learn to finish properly, then they'll hope. And with Archer and Armstrong leading the attack for them, they should be really. So we'll wait and see. But long way to go. I think Southampton, if they keep this up, will come good, basically. So I should have said that in a roundabout way instead of waffling, but that's me we're talking about. So, we'll move on from that. Right, how many games we've got left to go? So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think. Okay, right. Let's move on from that too. So we're going to try and get our attention near to. Okay, let's go to Charlton 2, Sheffield Wednesday 1. Couple of scrappy goals in this one. I think safe to say from what I did see on the highlights, really. But for Charlton, I mentioned before that Charlton are in the pack of like third down all the way to 11th, which is separated by 3 points. Charlton are 9th in that run. So well, Nathan Jones, I think he's still doing a canny job, isn't he? Very good job, in fact.
Yeah, you'd have expected them to win this game, quite honestly. They got a couple of goals before half-time, didn't they? They were 2-0 up half-time. They got one quite early on in the game and then scored one right before half-time, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, 17 minutes, Carey scored, and then Burke scored right before the break,
Yeah, so that would have, again, don't want to talk about goals shy before half-time, but that's a sort of killer blow, especially considering you're playing Sheffield Wednesday, who we've seen this season can be a little bit fragile, because the fact that you go 2-0 up right then, massive, isn't it? And then the Valley gets behind you, and then you're kind of confident and you see them get the game out. Make it a little bit difficult for themselves, conceding to Jamal Lowe quite near the end, but you trust Nathan Jones to see it out. I thought they'd find this game a little bit tricky. I thought they'd win. I thought they'd find this game a little bit tricky because you'd have expected them to have a lot of the ball and try and break Sheffield Wednesday down, because of the situation Sheffield Wednesday in, you wouldn't expect them to go there and be sort of open and expansive. But actually, Charlton had 40% of the ball. Wednesday had more of the ball, which is there you go, tells the story in itself. A good win for Charlton. Probably one you'd expect them to win with the quality that they have, quite honestly, and the disparity of that against Sheffield Wednesday. Wednesday have hit bottom, haven't they? They've gone bottom now officially, which I'm kind of going. Is that?
I mean, it's expected, but it's not nice to see, is it?
It's not, and the fact that they've not been bottom sort of this season so far, have they? Because it's been
Is it
Sheffield.
because of who's been below them as
Yeah,
well?
yeah. It's been
Now
Sheffield
above them,
United.
obviously.
Yeah, and now you're kind of going, oh, is that them?
And did you see the thing about the winding up petition that they could potentially be facing as well?
Yeah, again, I don't know much about it, but I've seen it, and it's a bit of it just doesn't help, doesn't it? It's just more chaos
Yeah.
added
It's
in.
like I've said, you just run out of we're just running out of things to say, though, aren't we? It's pretty much just saying the same damn thing every week. Chansiri needs to sell. How the hell has he not sold? The situation's horrendous. Everything else, and like I said, messaging a Sheffield Wednesday fan on social media yesterday, and one of his words pretty much was he said he's getting to the point where he's beyond caring. And as you know, that's when you're like in that situation as a fan. That's how depressing it is when you know that you're at the point where you're past anger and you're in apathy sort of mode. And again, it all comes down to one individual. But I don't know how many times I'm not gonna try and repeat myself too much. We know Chansiri's a muppet. We know he needs to sell, but it just feels to me like he's just doing this to wind the fans up at this point. But it's not like safe to say it's not particularly good for them at the minute.
Look, we all know something needs to change at Sheffield Wednesday. There's no sort of two ways about it. They're struggling. They're on their knees. Ethan Horvath was sent off. I think they had another injury as well in this one. Let me check quickly. It's Dom Iorfa who goes off at 35 minutes.
35 minutes, yeah.
And that's one of your rare sort of experienced sort of players. He's played tons of games in the Championship, especially for Sheffield Wednesday as well. So to lose him, it's just not ideal, and they're in a real desperate mess. It feels like again, because we were generally sort of a little bit chipper about them, weren't we? After they beat Pompey, we were like, okay, if they can pull out the odd win from here and there, and if they can sort of stay in the sort of
I think they followed it
conversation.
up by drawing against QPR, didn't they?
Yeah, 4 points.
So you think, well, all right, you could do something with that, but it's just And the weird thing is, despite all of this, they're only 2 points off 21st. That's the well, effectively it's 3 with the goal difference, but it's not like they've done quite well to get the results that they have done so far in many ways. It just feels like I don't know. It just feels like to me, and I don't know what you think about this, but I think that, and maybe I'm putting too much heritage in club size and all that rubbish, but because obviously it's on merit, you've got to perform when we ran well. To me, Sheffield Wednesday are a club that should be challenging to go up to the Premier League in the Championship, I think. But
Yeah.
again, it's just down to how pathetically they've been ran. When I say ran, I mean pathetically they've been owned off the pitch for years and years. It's led to this point, and maybe just appreciate. In fact, I was watching the Championship season review of 23-24. So obviously the year when you had like Leicester, Ipswich, Southampton, Leeds at the top. And I just looking at that, and at times when Sheffield Wednesday were that far below, it makes you appreciate how good a job Danny Rowe actually did in keeping them up and then keeping them well clear last season. And obviously, look, it's not the managers or head coach his fault there now. Of course, it's not. But it's not Henrik Pedersen's fault. But it's just a sorry state for everyone involved, really. It's actually heartbreaking as to see because ever since we beat Sheffield Wednesday in the League One playoffs, they've been ultra sound with Sunderland, and I think I've almost kind of got a massive soft spot for them, and it's horrible seeing them in this state. It's really pathetic. Well done, Defon.
What can you say, honestly, at this point? If you remember, when Danny Rowe, obviously that season when he mentioned that a couple of years ago now, Danny Rowe goes in and saves them. At the start of that season, everyone and their dog had Sheffield Wednesday ball because they changed Darren Moore, they lost some key players from that promotion side, and they didn't really add to that promotion side until very late on in the window, and they signed a lot of players from Europe and continentally. And it was a bit like, this doesn't seem joint together, and it doesn't seem right. And Cisco Munoz, that failed, and it just felt like a mess. This feels 100 million times worse, and I feel so bad for those Sheffield Wednesday fans who once again protested in the away end at Charlton. More power to them. Absolutely brilliant from the Wednesday fans who continue going. Sort of went Sheffield to London, East London for this one. Brilliant from. Is Charlton East London? Is it South London? I don't know. London.
My geography's terrible, mate. I'd be the last person you want to ask about that.
But yeah, just brilliant from them. They're we know Sheffield Wednesday fans are absolutely fantastic. They've got one of the best fans in the Championship. So it's just a sorry state, and I think we'll leave it at that.
Yeah. Well, to make it about Charlton, though, like I said, I think they've had as good a start as I think any of their fans could have hoped for, right before the start of August. So to be on 15 points in October, I think it's 15 points they're on. Let me double check that. Yeah, 15 points. So I don't think there's much they can complain about when it comes to that. So good on for Charlton. And Sheffield Wednesday fans, all I'll say is just keep protesting, keep fighting. More power to you. We're with you. We hope it gets resolved for you. Let's talk about Birmingham 2, Hull City 3. Now, I could be wrong here, but I believe this is it says here, Birmingham's first league defeat at St Andrews since April 2024. Now, obviously, of course, it's skewed by the fact that a lot of it was in League One, and they had by far the most expensive squad in the league. But to go unbeaten at home for a year, I think it's still really good, regardless of what level it
Who
is.
did they lose to, I wonder? I'm going to check that.
In April 2024. I think it was to Cardiff. I want to say it's to Cardiff. I don't know.
Yes, I remember that game. I don't know why I remember that game, but I think it was Nat Phillips who scored. Anyway, sorry, carry on.
So this is their first home defeat for April 2024. So that's pretty good going, to be fair. But obviously, I've got to mention this. I've said before that, and I said this when he was at Sheffield United, I have no idea.
Josh Bowler scored that. My apologies. My bad.
No worries. Jack Robinson scores an own goal. Later has pretty much a bad day for Jack Robinson again. He scores an own goal and then gets himself sent off in the second half. I have absolutely no idea why Birmingham think he's a good centre-back now at this point. He might have been at one point, but now he's just, I'm not convinced with Jack Robinson. But anyway, so obviously an own goal puts them ahead. Jay Stansfield ends up levelling for Birmingham before Regan, I think, is it Regan Slater?
What a header as well, by the way.
Oh, yeah, no, it was a cracking header. And again, another goal right on the verge of half-time as well. How many goals? Is that like half a dozen goals that have been scored between the 45th minute and like half-time this weekend? Puts Hull 2-1 up. Of course, the job's made a bit harder when Jack Robinson gets 2 yellow cards and is sent off right on the hour mark.
It's actually ridiculous as well, by the way. I get it, right? It's a corner. It is a corner. He's not given a corner. You don't mouth off the referee and get yourself a yellow card in that situation, let alone 2. He gets the yellow card, and then he says something further, and the referee, you can see the moment he says something, he instantly turns around and whips out the second yellow. It's so stupid from Robinson. I mean,
yeah,
it's brain dead. It's there's no way to describe it, and this is from someone who's played so many games at professional level and so many games at Championship level. He's played Premier League games as well for Sheffield United. So this is a guy who should not fall foul to that in the slightest. So it's an absolute sort of shock horror from him, and that's 2 red cards already in his Birmingham career this season. So just disgraceful for Robinson, who completely sort of killed Birmingham. Slightly kills Birmingham, because I thought actually they created some chances.
Does, though, to be fair, because Hull then go 3-1 up in stoppage time, don't they? So it's like
yes, but James Beadle, the Birmingham goalkeeper, misses the freest of headers from about 3-4, maybe 6 yards out, actually. Probably on the edge of the 6 yard box.
Potentially cost Birmingham a win then.
Yeah, so James Beadle has literally the match in his hands for Birmingham to get a point in that situation, because I don't know, once it goes 2-2, do Hull go and score? I don't know, but yeah, James Beadle misses the golden opportunity, which is craziness.
Sorry, I'm smirking because my dog keeps on coming back here to bring a dog toy with us when I'm trying to get her to go away, and then she keeps on walking back to us. Not getting the message, bless her. But no, obviously Joe Gelhardt scores for Hull to put them 3-1 up, and there's the dog again.
Lovely counter-attack for that third one as well.
There you go. Dog clearly agrees. There you go. Just walking around all over the place. But it was a great counter-attack, and obviously Joe Gelhardt's not a bad player at this level. Yes, hello, Luna. You wanting to join in? Right, I need to talk with Musa. Luna's just going to keep on trying to harass us.
It's a lovely finish from Gelhardt, who scores with his left foot and puts it into the corner past Field. And then it's a bit of the penalty is a bit of a nonsense, because Birmingham clearly aren't going to get anything from the game. And then the crowd kind of half, but it's still, if they score the penalty, it's only 1 goal in it, and it's still kind of like, can you get one more attack off it? And it's a bit of a nonsense, because the Birmingham fans are a bit like, oh yeah, we've got a penalty. But it's a bit less than half-assed, and I thought that was quite entertaining. Ooh.
There you go. That's entertaining as Luna's trying to jump up on. The window's still just then, and she'll still probably want the attention. But yeah,
she's probably the star of the show.
Probably, yeah, more than likely, definitely more so than me anyway. Yeah, now her paws on my back. Do you mind? It's like, no, I don't mind whatsoever. Right, settle. I'll give you attention once we stop recording. There you go. That'll be for the 3 people who are kind enough to stick around and watch. But yeah, no. So for Hull, look, obviously, when you have a man advantage for half an hour, it's obviously a big bit of a help for you. Still had to go ahead twice 11-11 though. So obviously for a team that hadn't lost at home for what is it nearly? I think it's 14 months. No, sorry, 18 months. My mistake. Obviously, you had off season and League One and stuff like that. But either way, so really good win for Hull. I can't remember if that puts them in the it puts them in the 3-point bracket between 3rd and 11th as well because they're 10th. So just goes to show you. And Hull
we have to give them credit, by the way.
Yeah, we do. I was going to say Hull are another team that made me look like mugs because I said they'd go down as well at the start of the season. So Hull, there you go. So basically, for Hull and Preston fans, long story short, don't listen to Michael Bowers and Annie Harris. That's it. Just don't listen to us. We'll just curse you. We'll say you're going to go down, and then well done. Welcome into the Premier League 26-27, Preston North End and Hull City, basically. So we'll roll with it. We will roll with it. Right, let's see. I think we've got 3 more games to talk about. So let's go with where should we start? Let's go down to Bramall Lane. Let's go to Sheffield United. And to be fair,
down
I talk about Sorry?
Oh, sorry, it is down for you, isn't it? Oh, it's up for me. Sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say down to Brum. Yeah, well, to me, you could say it depends which way you want to look at it. But in the northeast, pretty much everywhere apart from Scotland is south. So you want to look at it that way. When I'm going to visit Carl in a couple of weeks, that's up for me, and that's quite rare. So it's rare for me to go. Oh, I'm going down. No, wait, it's up to Edinburgh. Never mind. But anyway, no one wants to listen to me talk about my geography and where I am off to in the next few weeks. Sheffield United 1, Watford 0. Now, to be fair, I'll give Sheffield United this. From what I'm seeing of the stats and what I did see of the highlights, definitely worthy winners in this game. So obviously the goal was a bit scrappy, and this time it wasn't a scorpion kick. It was pretty much a tap in from Callum O'Hare. Yes, Luna, you clearly agree with me. Get down. Callum O'Hare obviously scores, and to be fair, given the state of Sheffield United, it might have been quite good for them to have an international break for Chris Wilder to work with them a bit more. Obviously, there'll be some players going away on international duty and whatnot, but he'll have had pretty much a lot of them to work with behind the scenes, and I think seems to pay dividends based if this game's anything to go by. What they need to do now for me is to start getting themselves a good run and getting themselves out of the bottom 3 and away from danger. But long way to go, but massive win for them all the same. Much, 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 much needed.
No, yeah, agreed. The Watford team selection is interesting, to put it
well,
one way.
If the BBC's anything to go by, it's basically 4-2-2.
Yeah,
how accurate that is, I don't know, because I hear Sky Sports, BBC, everyone put different systems and different shapes. So I don't know.
The midfield of Sissoko, Kayembe, Louza, Kipriano. How on earth Musa Sissoko and Edo Kayembe start together in midfield 2 in the Championship? It's an absolute travesty to me. And then he's got Barr on the bench. It's just a bit of a mess. Again, it's Javi Grazia's first game back at Watford, so
Yes, another change at Watford. Imagine my shock.
What a shock! So look, it's going to take a little bit of time, but they've got some good players at Watford. So hopefully, for his sake, Javi Grazia doesn't make the same mistake of not starting players who, sorry to say it, not good enough. So
let's be honest, you'll probably be sacked before the end of the season, regardless, though.
Potentially, but yeah, needs to learn his lesson. Grazia for Wilder, good win. Just just a win. I think any win would have done for
get confidence.
Yeah, get things moving for Sheffield United because they desperately need to start winning some games. So yeah, it's a good start for them. They go away to Blackburn, which now seems like a bit of a can you go there and really sort of take
Blackburn
advantage?
And Preston basically this week.
Yeah, so nice staying in Lancashire.
Derby at home. I'm sorry to interrupt as well, but Derby at home after that as well. So the next few games are an opportunity to get some points, get more points on the board, and pull out of the danger zone.
Absolutely. So they have an opportunity now, Sheffield United, to go and get some points, definitely.
Yeah, it's massive. And look, well, you pretty much covered everything with Javi Garcia's return to Watford. And yeah, for Chris Wilder, I think it's just crucial for them to start. If they start getting on a good run, then anything could be possible for them, really. I mean, look, I suspect top two. I mean, I know it sounds weird talking about this when they're second bottom, but like top 2, safe to say, unless something miraculous happens, I think that's pretty much out of reach. But And although they're 11 points off the playoffs, stranger things have happened from here. And Sheffield United, for me, we still stand by. I think have the squad good enough to challenge for it, if not finish in them. But yeah, it's one thing talking about it. Let's see if they get a good run first. As you said, when you've got Blackburn, Preston, Derby in your next three, Blackburn and Derby in particular, I think you've got to be looking to target to win those games. But we'll see. We've been here before with Sheffield United where they got the win away at Oxford and then lost the next couple of games. Queen Michael's comment here. Is it Coventry City's time to finally achieve promotion, having lost to Luton Town in the playoff final a few seasons ago and dramatically losing to Sunderland? Dan Ballard! Sorry, I had to say that. In the last-minute playoff semi-final in 24-25. Potentially. The way the parachute teams have started this year. For me, I know people are probably sick of me going, Michael talking about parachute teams again. But it's actually true. Like, it depends on how Ipswich and Southampton start to come good. It depends if but to be fair, they're both 9 points behind Coventry. So they've obviously got a bit of a buffer there. And Leicester points deduction. If things continue to stutter, there's not a better season for them. Probably you could argue.
Yeah, and as a club, generally Coventry have had an upward trajectory for the past few years. I know they had a little dip under Mark Robbins' final season,
but generally it's been really good over the last 6-7 years, hasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, under Mark Robbins' final full season is what I meant. A little dip, but obviously in that season they got to the FA Cup semi-final and arguably should have got to the playoff FA Cup final. And God knows what you can do in a one-off game, right? But yeah, and then that was obviously that same season, and then he goes Lampard. So it's been sort of upward trajectory, and year on year, in my opinion, they've built on the squad and they've improved the squad and they've made it better. So Coventry are a very well-run club in this division. They've been well-run ever since they've pretty much gone back into the Championship, and they've done really, really well. Yet again, to sort of gradually improve the squad. They're one of the teams we looked at in the summer going, okay, they haven't added a hell of a lot, but they've improved. And they've kept a lot of the players they would have wanted to.
Not much upheaval either.
Exactly, and they've kept the manager, and they've kept Rodoni, they kept Wright, they kept Sims. Well, maybe not Sims, but not as important. But you get what, and Van Avijk, you get what I mean. And they've upgraded in the positions I think they would have wanted to as well, Cov. So massive sort of positive feeling and upward trajectory over the long term for Coventry, and I think it certainly feels like their time, doesn't it?
Yeah, I would agree with that. To quickly look onto the Coventry thing with the next Coventry player, Michael's saying, I think their top player, Hamer, is out for 8 weeks. I don't know if that is true, but if it is, then that's probably why Gus... To put it this way, if that is true, then that's probably why Gus Hamer is not at Leeds United, because there were talks of Leeds going for him, but his injury record is probably what will end up having Sheffield United keep Gustavo Hamer. Brilliant player at the Championship when fit, but it's just... However, apparently he does have injury issues. So let's get on to the penultimate game anyway. So it's... Well, yeah, I guess it's a relegation 6-pointer at the Kassam Stadium. Oxford 1, Derby County 0. So, go on then, what you making of this game?
I watched the highlights, and Derby had one highlight from the game, and that was from sort of in the last minute from a corner, which kind of was headed over. It was kind of a half chance. If that's your biggest moment in a game, you have been absolutely royally battered. And numbers back up as well. Oxford created loads of chances. Zetterstrom was outstanding. It's just not quite clicking for Derby at the minute, and it's a bit of a shame because I thought they'd be fantastic this season. Actually, I thought they'd be very, very good. I like their summer additions. I liked how they recruited. I like John Eustace very much. I think they've got a nice balance in their squad, and it's just not clicking for them, is it? And that's a real shame. Not. But for Oxford, they've won at home, which
that was their first home win this season, I think.
Think so, and the fact they've beaten Derby, who you could again class as one of the teams that could be in around them, certainly are at the moment. That's a fantastic win. It's a fantastic win for them, and Garrett we know has the capability of pulling a 1-0 win, keep a clean sheet, score a goal. But this was not a typical Garrett 1-0 win. This was a very much could have been 2-3.
Prominent should have been more 1-0 win.
Yeah, 1-0. I think flat as Derby. Quite a bit in this one actually. So great win for Oxford. Great performance as well, which is probably the more important thing for them. Obviously, the win is very, very helpful as well, but performance and the fact that they very much deserve to win is a big thing as well. But for Derby, it's quite concerning, I'd say. We made the excuses at the start of the season, our injuries are, no Aubameyang and stuff like that. But now they've got the players back, and they've started getting the players back, and it's just still not quite clicking, and that's a bit of a concern for Eustace, I think.
And I think as well, I mean, look at their forward line as well, because they're not scoring as much, are they? Which is something, and I'm looking at their front four here. Andreas Weimann, Ryan Brewster, Ben Burton Diaz, Carlton Morris. I rate that as a front line for the championship. I think that's a probably, I would say, a playoff challenging level, or certainly at the very bare minimum, top 10, top half sort of challenging forward line. You obviously got players like Dion Sanderson and Matt Clark at the back as well. So there is quality within that. So I don't know. Maybe it's just something that just isn't clicking for them. I don't think John Eustace will be under pressure by any stretch of the imagination, but I think that obviously,
if it turned quickly, he might be.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously the football's a ruthless business, isn't it? So I have absolutely, yeah. I mean, at the minute, I don't think he will be, but it depends. I mean, for all the talk about them being dark horses and doing really well, and I remember me, Carl, and Doug, and I think it was Reese were doing the season preview, and I remember myself and Doug in particular were championing Derby's chances quite a lot. But I don't know what the hierarchy's expectations for them were this season. So, and John Eustace has certainly been backed. So, we'll wait and see how that one ends up panning out. But yes, vital win for Oxford all the same. That's one of the games that if you're wanting to stay up, and again for me, without trying to sound condescending, I think 21st again, staying up. Well, they didn't finish 21st last season, but you know what I mean. Staying up again, I think, is good for Oxford this season to really take a couple of seasons to establish yourself and then maybe try to kick on again. But yeah, big win for them. Derby, questions to be answered in the future. Right, the last game, and I'm sure Annie will not want to talk about. Liam Manning's side 0, Liam Manning's former side 1. Did Norwich respond to the Derby defeat to Ipswich, the first one in 16 years, with a good result at Carrow Road? No, they did not. They lost again at Carrow Road. Now, I believe that is it. Now, is it 6 straight league losses at Carrow Road now?
I think it's 6 straight defeats in all competitions.
I think it might be 7 in all competitions because hang on, I can tell you, they lost to Millwall opening day, they lost to Middlesbrough, they lost to Southampton in the cup if we're counting that. They lost to Wrexham, they lost to West Brom, and now they've lost to Bristol City. I think I might be missing a home game out of that, but I'm not sure. Oh well, there you go. If that is right, it's 6 in all competitions, 5 in the championship. So while Annie's doing the maths,
6 in all comps, yeah.
Right, okay, fair enough then.
But that is still embarrassing.
Oh yeah, well, here's one Michael's asking: is Manning for the chop? Well, let's ask the expert Annie Harris, who knows Liam Manning much better than I do. So, right, so congratulations on winning the Liam Manning Derby, and I'll let you take over from here. Perfect.
Where do I start?
What more can you ask for? What's the saying? A picture is 1,000 words. Just someone screenshot that image of Annie just going.
I don't know where to start, to be honest. I'll talk about the game because why not? We actually battered them. Second half. First half was a bit turgid. It was a bit boring. I'll be real. I'll be honest. It was not good. First half, both teams had minimum. Michael, you said it, not me.
I didn't say anything. What are you on about?
Not you, Michael.
I know you didn't. I'm taking the mic.
What was I going to say? Yeah, first half turgid. Both teams really didn't create too much. We had a couple of. I'd say we had better openings than they did. I think Scott Twine hit the side netting, and Emil Rees had a one-on-one sort of save by Kovacevic. I think for them, I want to say, nothing for them actually. In the second half, Marcondes is a big chance for them, but we had much better chances than Liam Manning's side. And Liam Manning's side didn't do anything with the ball for most of the game because came up against a very, very good, very well organised defence. We contained Josh Sargent, and we took our moment.
That's not easy to do, by the way, so fair play for that.
Yeah, and I found it quite funny that Liam Manning after the game said, conceded a cheap free kick. We switch off when it gets taken quickly and we'll deal with the ball in. Should have lost anyway, Liam. Be honest. Ball goes in from Anis Mehmeti, who is really good player. He's come on leaps and bounds since joining us. I think this season there's been a massive improvement. So do not be surprised if by the end of the season he racks up some really good numbers, and he's might well be our best attacking threat or best attacking option, because it's not just the fact that he doesn't always get an assist or get a goal, but there'll be so many moments in games where he'll take a man on, he'll beat him, and he'll get us into a better attacking position, get us more of an opportunity or an opening. You know the type of player I mean. Sort of
Yeah.
is it's just confident on the ball. We'll just take someone on. We'll put a ball in. We'll get a corner. We'll release some pressure if we need to. It's so good to have someone like that, and it's so good for him to have that creative element now at the end of it as well, because he's always had that sort of flair within him. Puts in a delicious ball. It goes all the way to the back post. Mark Sykes, lovely touch, and then finishes it past Kovacevic. And yeah, that away end. I'm sure I wasn't there. Was more than kind to Liam Manning. I'm sure they were. And honestly, look, I've maintained on here that I like Liam Manning. He provided my best season supporting Bristol City. He provided. I'll correct myself. He provided my favourite season supporting Bristol City, and I'll always be grateful for that. But you cannot look at this and go, he made the right choice to leave Bristol City to go to Norwich, because he didn't make the right choice. And I think it was Michael's comment. If we can bring it up again, back on.
Once I can get it up, there you go.
Bang on. Big mistake. Absolutely.
All right, then, since I've brought up that comment, let's bring up this one again.
I think he's probably going to be given this couple of games, isn't he, Liam Manning? The fact that they haven't, if they were to sack him, they'd have probably done it by now. But I think
the next international break, I wouldn't be shocked, mind, if he doesn't get results before then.
I think Norwich in a sticky position, because if Ben Napper sacks Liam Manning, he's
got wrong, isn't it?
He's effectively handing over his P45 to the Athanasius and going, "Oh, sack me, please," because that is £55 million, I think, or something like that, £60 million down the drain. Not down the drain, but a lot of the money that they've spent on transfer fees have gone horribly wrong.
Yeah,
that's two big managerial project appointments in Johannes Torp and Liam Manning that's gone horribly wrong, because if they were to sack Manning, that would be two sackings. And it would be a lack of sort of assets at the football club as well, because if you think about Norwich, they always have an Emi Buendia, a Max Aarons, and more recently Gabi Sarra, Marcelino Nunez, Johnny Rowe, Borja Sainz, someone they can sell for 15, 20 million pounds and get a lot of money for. Apart from Josh Sargent in this team at the moment, who they could probably get quite a bit of money for, I'm not looking at anyone, and I mean anyone, in that Norwich setup at the moment and going, he's going to be a massive asset for them in the future. That is not down to Liam Manning. That's down to Ben Napper, isn't it? At the end of the day, he's the one that signed the players last summer. Liam Manning wasn't there last summer. He's the one that's obviously cooperated with Manning this summer and signed those players. Not one player apart from Josh Sargent. I'm looking at it going, yeah, he could be sold for a lot of money in the future. Shifting the conversation back onto Manning, because this is quite entertaining.
Is it? What gave you that impression?
Honestly, I find, to be fair, Norwich fans have been quite good. I will give them that. They have been quite sort of gracious in defeat, which I will give. But it is objectively quite hilarious that we've gone there and won after the fact that I think everyone expected Liam Manning to sort of be above Bristol City this season. And I think Manning really hasn't helped himself either over these past 2 weeks. After the Ipswich game, he said, we'll be doing our best to prepare for Bristol. And
he didn't go down that route, did he?
He called us Bristol a couple of times actually in his post-match interview after Ipswich, and I sort of kind of fired me up a little bit more for the game. And I'm sure it would have fired a lot of Bristol City players as well. I don't think they'd needed any more extra motivation.
I mean, it's true, but you just play that clip on the big screen TV at the training ground or something. Go, there you go.
Yeah. One player I will give sort of a spotlight to is Rob Atkinson, who effectively, and if you don't know the story, I'm probably assuming you don't, Rob Atkinson last January obviously got shipped out on loan to Portsmouth. That left us desperately short at centre-back. Rob Atkinson was injured for 2 years, I think, with a couple of ACL injuries. So he needed game time, and he wasn't going to get game time immediately at Bristol City. But from what it looked like, he was just shipped out on loan for half a season, and then going to be sold this summer for a fee. And then we were trying to try and sign Harry Darling from Swansea. That's what the plan was with Liam Manning. It was very clear Manning didn't rate him. Manning probably didn't think he was good enough to play his style of play. I am not being funny. Rob Atkinson is one of the best centre-backs in the Championship. If a manager does not rate Rob Atkinson for this division, you're having me on. That was one of Manning's probably biggest mistakes, not rating Rob Atkinson, because he's an absolutely brilliant player, and he definitely would have had a lot of sort of motivation to go out there and prove himself, prove Manning wrong effectively, and there you go. I will say finally on Manning, you don't want to see anyone lose their job. I'm not
except when it's Liam Manning at Norwich City.
No. Genuinely, I'm not sat here and hoping for Manning to get sacked. Oh my god, please! That's...
You might have not been. I was very much hoping for that when Alex Neil was at Stoke. But there you go. You're more virtuous than me, though, so that'll probably be why.
I don't want to see that happen, because obviously, but he has sort of spoken about us in a little bit of a pretentious way at points, at times, again calling us Bristol and stuff like that. And he did say he did mention, oh, I know the opposition quite well, and there's a little bit sort of on the pretentious borderline, and there's a little bit of that, nice one. And effectively, he abandoned us to go to Norwich. How's that gone out? How's that worked out for you, Liam? That's worked out nicely. So yeah, it's always good to beat a former manager. It's like getting one over him.
Over on your ex. Look at it that way. Well, it's right, isn't it? Ex-manager, I suppose.
Yeah.
Literal.
Finally, Manning also mentioned in his post-match interview, the plan was to go direct. He was talking about this in the context of, I know the opposition quite well. The plan was to go in behind the opposition, which I thought was quite funny, because they didn't do that once. They did not do that once, and not once effectively anyway. Josh Sargent was feeding off scraps, and it's bad when the away fans, the Bristol City fans, every time Norwich have the ball, it was with the centre-backs, and it kept going backwards. The Vladan Kovacevic, the goalkeeper, went to Darling, went to Medic, and every time the away fans olayed.
I was waiting for that.
It is that's when it's bad. And obviously we can do it, because we've seen that sort of football. We've seen that football sort of in the flesh. But yeah, what a win for Bristol City. I mean, just forget the fact that it's a good 3 points. Mark Sykes scored off the bench. Struber got his tactics spot on. We created loads of chances. Just to beat Liam Manning, I think in itself is quite satisfying. Exactly.
I'll tell you what. I'm going to quickly read the BBC segment of his post-match interview for BBC Radio Norfolk, and I'm going to read this.
Is this going to piss me off, Michael?
No, I just want to see. I'm going to read it and see how familiar this sounds to when he was at Bristol City. So I just want to see what you think to this, right? So bear in mind, there's a couple of paragraphs I'm reading here. So here we go. We are absolutely awful. I am a terrible manager. No, okay. It says, we need a few to start stepping up and owning performances, because everything is just too nice around the place. We have to try and change that. I'm going to look away from Annie, because if I look at him, I'm going to laugh too hard to continue reading. There was some nice football, but nothing at the end of it. Not enough aggression, not enough purpose, not enough intent. Shut up. Not enough intent when you're losing a game to get on the front foot and change it. We try to give structure, we try to give clarity, but we also try to empower them to step on the pitch and take responsibility to make decisions. I'll just wait, it keeps going. If the space is there to go in behind and take the risk. If it's not, then shorten it up. Too many people are passing on the responsibility and not being brave enough. I can't play the game for them. We can give them game plans and solutions, but the second the whistle blows, you need people to step up.
Ding, 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 ding.
This is exactly the reaction I was hoping for.
99.9% of that interview I have heard before in about 55 different post-match interviews.
Just to point out, that was literally me reading the print segment of a 6.5 minute long interview for BBC Radio Norfolk. So if you want to watch, if Bristol City fans of the 0.1 of you that are probably watching this, if you want to go and watch Liam Manning, like be predictable, Liam Manning bingo, then probably go and listen to that, I guess. But yeah, I don't know what more to say on that.
I will say,
you're going to do this. Liam Manning struggling.
Look, I don't want to see anyone lose their job again, and I don't want to see him struggle because I
Bullshit
quite
he
like.
does.
Because once again, I quite like Liam Manning, and
until he said Bristol.
Until he said Bristol, until he said that we are, whatever. Who's actually bothered? We won. They didn't. Yes. Finally, sorry. It was a nice sort of mark in the ground of, because I had my suspicions, and us as fans had our suspicions of, have we actually got the better deal out of this? Because we've lost Manning. We've got the compensation for him and his coaching staff, Chris Hogg and James Krause. I think it was 1.2 million for the three of them combined as a package, which is obviously not bad money for us. And we've appointed Gerhard Struber, and we might have actually sort of got better as a team. And I think this is a bit of a flag in the ground, a bit of a stick it in there and go, oh yeah.
Stick it in your pipe and smoke it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we actually might well have upgraded on Liam Manning. So there we go. I think that was a bit of a poignant moment, I think, at the end of the game. We've gone away to you, been the better team, pretty much sort of created 5-6 big opportunities that we could have scored. You've had nothing on our goal, pretty much. Radek Vitak made 2 big saves. I will say that. What a goalkeeper he is, by the way. Like, ridiculously good. Great signing in the summer, and tough to see how Max O'Leary gets his place back now, which is quite weird.
You didn't expect to say that in the summer.
No. So yeah, fantastic from him. What was I going to say? Yeah, we've upgraded on Liam Manning, is what I'm going to say. There we go.
Okay, let me just put it this way then. I'll mention, because Annie will probably like this, I like to mention XG at least 2 or 3 times every show we do. So let's put it this way. Expected goals. Norwich City, 0.83. Bristol City, 2.35. 0 XG from open play, 0.81 for Norwich, 1.5 for Bristol City. XG from set play, this one's quite funny. Bristol City, I'll start again in reverse. Bristol City, 0.85. Norwich City, 0.02. And an XG against...
So you're telling me that a Liam Manning team can't take a set piece?
I'm saying nothing. I'm just.
I don't know. I don't think I've heard that one before, actually.
I am just reading out the statistics. The statistics are the ones doing the talking. I'm just reading it. And then you got I think it's XG against. I'm assuming this says 0.77 for Norwich. Oh, it's expected assists probably. 0.77 for Norwich.
XA.
XA. Well, I don't know what the hell. What does that
stand for? Yeah, I think that's expected.
I was going to say it can't be expected against because it's like because otherwise you'd have a lower XG against than what Norwich did. But yeah. Anyway, you're 1.18 in that, and Norwich is 0.77. I'll tell you one area. Norwich won. Liam Manning did win the clearances off the line derby because he won. Norwich had one clearance off. That's how bad it is.
I remember that. It was Anis Mehmeti, actually. He should have scored about twice. Mehmeti. Again, he should score twice. So the game should be much more comfortable than it is.
Really? When you had 6 attempts each outside the box? Yeah,
sorry,
I'm really clutching at that. Yeah. Well done to
yeah.
Liam Manning for that.
Congrats, Liam. That went well.
Yeah.
Hope you're happy.
You should have just done the closing. Just gone. I will mentally. I will see you from Bristol, which you like to call us. So bye bye.
We'll close out by saying, little old Bristol are at it again, aren't we?
So Annie, in other words, has had a pretty good weekend where Bristol City win the Liam Manning derby,
Bristol.
Sorry, well, I was going to say, okay, so we'll tell you, Bristol won the City derby between Norwich City and Bristol City, and then we had a certain Tranmere Rovers that I think Annie would have been a pretty big fan of, but I can't imagine why. So we will leave it at that. Right, Carl, yeah,
no, not sure.
No, well, we will leave it there. Well, all right then. I'll just quickly run through the table. I have no idea how to get this on the screen, so I'm not going to bother with it. I will figure that out in the due course. All right, let's make Annie happy. So,
can we start with 20th?
Sorry.
Can we start with 20th?
Oh yeah, Bristol City got a minus 20 points deduction. I think.
Oh,
So,
sorry, something like that. Something like that. Yeah.
no, yeah. So Bristol City, oh sorry, just Bristol, are on seventh on 16 points after 10 games, beating Bristol, beating their former manager who's now in Norwich, Liam Manning, who are on 8 points after 10 games and are sat in 20th, 1 point outside the relegation zone. So I'm sure Annie's not going to get satisfaction from that whatsoever. The top 6 consist of Coventry, Middlesbrough, Stoke, Leicester, West Brom, and Millwall, and of course the bottom 3 are Blackburn Rovers. Chris Wilder being a TWAT. Oh, sorry, Sheffield United and of course and Sheffield Wednesday, bottom of the league. There's no way I'm not going to have a Chris Wilder dig in here, but hey ho. But anyway, yeah, thanks to everyone who has been watching. It's been a pretty good show. I know Annie has been particularly happy about it, like we said, for the reason we probably discussed for the last 25 minutes. But there you have it. Yeah, so we will obviously by the next time we come back, there will have been 2 extra games in the Championship. Let's see if Annie's still going to be just as happy next Saturday.
Probably not.
I know he's going to say probably not, knowing Bristol City. So I was so
Bristol,
tempted.
just Bristol, Michael.
That's going to be a running joke now. Just Bristol. That's it. It's fine. Bristol 4, Norwich 0 in the reverse fixture. Who knows?
The other way around.
We'll see on that one. But anyway, guys, yeah, thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.
Up the Bristol.